And action. Okay, so the September Direct happened earlier today. And saw both the American version and the Japanese version. Anyway, of course, rather than wasting more time, why not just? I think I'll just get into it. Although I should probably stand a little farther away from the ad spot so that, yeah, set that there and. So, let's see. There. Now, as for what I got right, that's what I'll do first. After I, yeah. Oh, no, don't paint that one that color. Anyway, yeah. So starting off, in Super Mario Wonder, of course, didn't have much in the Direct, but it was there in the sizzle reel, as I suspected. So that's correct. Super Mario RPG, that had more information revealed, including implying something that I was hoping for. That the battle against Culex stays in this version. I mean, returns for this version. So yeah, Super Mario RPG, correct, in a bigger part than expected, actually. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, well, it's been renamed to 2 HD, but not gonna retype the name because the 2 key would mess up the recording. So yeah, but it was there. So correct. Yeah. Of course, the new Princess Peach game we have a name for now, and this one I shall attempt to correct the name for the record. Yeah. Showtime is the actual name of this title, which makes sense. And one of the and there was a leak that said that might be the name. So yeah. Although I do have to wonder what will be done with images of Peach in those costumes online. Well, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Either way, that suspicion was correct. Yeah, and of course with WarioWare Move It, I was also right about that. In fact, even right down to there being shown some more aspects of it. Yeah. Pikachu Returns, that also had some in that one there also had a trailer, so of course that was correct. But yeah, of course, then again, I mean, of course these were all gonna be at the Direct in one form or another. By way of contrast, nothing for Deca Police nothing for Deca Police as far as I can recall. Nothing for Professor Layton in the New World of Steam, and nothing at all for Borderlands 3, oddly enough. Still no trailer for that. Although, Metal Gear Solid and Master Collection Volume 1, correct. And Star Ocean Second Story R, correct. And I know what you're probably thinking, they weren't at the E-Direct. But remember, I was including I was including the Japanese Direct in this all along. I said yesterday that I would count appearances in the Japanese Direct. And both of these appeared in a sizzle reel in the Japanese Direct. So therefore, it counts. Still no sign of Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Next, the DLC. Side Order was the opening act. So, yeah. To say it was there would be an understatement. Yeah. A few interesting details there. And what a surprise, of course, that, don't take this the wrong way, but that, sanitized musician, and the upscaling there. And don't get upset at the fact I'm saying it like that. It's just it's a mistake, and that was the term for all those Octarians that were dipped in the chemicals in Octo expansion. I'm told that that particular Octoling volunteered for the experiment so that she could focus on her music better. And that the titles of the compositions on one of her albums actually has something to do with the experience, or the process. But that's a bit off topic. So suffice to say, Side Order, it was there, but apparently it's also been delayed, it would seem. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6. Now this is an interesting case. I was right about Diddy Kong, which, of course, they would have Diddy Kong in there. I mean, he was the absolute most wanted character that was missing. Although the odd thing is, there were only 2 visible slots remaining, yet they revealed 4 characters. I mean, I had my suspicions about Pauline, given the surge in popularity in recent times. Although I will say that a lot of her appearances feel a bit shoehorned, but that's something for another day. And also, yeah, a lot of people wanted Funky Kong back, and he's back. And of course, Peachette, the alt of Toadette, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. I guess the question is, how is this going to work out? Are there even more characters that have yet to be announced? I mean, they could do... yeah, I suppose they could do a few more characters. Let's see, I mean, that's... yeah, I mean, they could easily do 4 more characters. I mean, what's to stop them from throwing in King Babam, Rob, Dixie Kong, and I don't know. I mean, one other possibility is that they move all the DLC characters. So instead of it being a column on the right, it'd be the second to last one on the bottom. That would make room for one more. But then the question is, what about the 4th? Alternatively, they could have drivers that are power-ups of other, that are other drivers with a power-up or a costume or something be stacked so that Mario and Tanuki Mario are in the same slot, and likewise Peachette in it's an alt of Toadette, despite her Peachette being an echo of Peach. Which, I mean, it raises a lot of questions, but oh well. Of course, as far as the stage is concerned, yeah, I think I've got all the stages figured out now. By revealing that, by showcasing, in Daisy Circuit specifically, and that means that, yeah, I mean, obviously, the 2 remaining city courses, Rome and Madrid, the 2 tour original all courses that are not based on a city, and Rainbow Road Wii. That was 5. Bringing it that okay, so bring in Daisy Circuit. That's 6 tracks. So therefore, if I had to guess, the remaining 2 would probably be, well, there are a few possibilities here. It is said that one of the one slot will probably be a GameCube track, another an SNES track. So therefore, for GameCube, it's either Dino Jungle or DK Mountain. Yeah, that's what those are the 2 potential options for for GameCube, especially considering that there are 2 Kongs in there, so of course it would probably be one of those. The other, well, is suspected to be either Vanilla Lake or Bowser's Castle. It'll probably be Vanilla Lake. And by that logic, Dino Dino Jungle for the other one. So, yeah, that's what is most likely. Is most likely it. And as for how accurate this is, we'll just have to wait and see. Now for the amiibo. Not only did they show off the Noah and Miho amiibo from the Xenoblade Chronicles, and show it off as the first Xenoblade Chronicles series amiibo. I mean, sure, there's been Xenoblade Chronicles characters that got as amiibo before, but those were through the Smash series. Speaking of which, I called it. Sora. Only thing is, I'll have to wait till sometime next year in order to even stand a chance at trying to grab him. Because here's the thing, there are many amiibo that I missed out on, many amiibo I want. But Sora, that's the one amiibo that I can't and let slip through my fingers. Which will be a bit of a tall order. Very popular character, very scarce character as far as merchandise is concerned. And this will likely be the only time said amiibo was printed. Or so I assume. I mean, I suppose that many years down the line, they could release a non-mainline Kingdom Hearts game on the next Nintendo system, of which Sora would be included in. And therefore that could warrant the reprint. But otherwise, a select few I've heard reports. Otherwise, I've heard reports of many of the other amiibo being reprinted at about now, but it's unclear if any amiibo will be printed beyond that eons now. For Smash. Yeah. Anyway, as far as what was rumored, nothing for our Harvest Moon 64 or anything related to Nintendo Switch Online, with one exception which I'll get to later. Neither of these 2 ratings board leaks proved true today. So, no Gotham Knights, no Mass Effect. Nothing Metroid, period, so no remaster of Echoes, and by extension, no remaster of Prime 3 Corruption. And not that I was expecting it anyway, but no news on Metroid Prime 4. In case you're wondering, and I'm not saying that. One thing I honestly was expecting to see was, well, one of these two to be true, but I mean, more of the Olympic Games, because that's an annual series. I mean, it's possible that it could be announced in February, but then again, I'm wondering if the series is discontinued. There was nothing for the Winter Olympics. I mean, the last one. I forget where it was. Somewhere in China, I think. So maybe Sega no longer has the license for the Olympics? Maybe, or maybe the French government wanted wanted a French studio to handle all games based on the Paris Olympics. Either way, nothing for F-Zero, GX, or AX. But I'll get to F-Zero later. None of the Fire Emblem rumors proved true. And there was an Atlas game that... Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there was something as an Atlas game. Oh, I actually may as well get into it. No, it can wait. Yeah, there was an Atlas game that, at first glance, during the first few frames, might have been mistaken for a Fire Emblem game, but otherwise, nothing for Fire Emblem. Which, I mean, is probably too early anyway. I mean, there's still a decent amount of momentum for Engage, so if anything related to a remaster or of a Fire Emblem game is to happen, maybe it'll be at a February Direct. Otherwise, the most we'll see for Fire Emblem anytime soon is maybe in November. We'll see either Our Dragon of Wave of Light make it over here, or them just straight up putting Fire Emblem Gaiden or Thracia 776 on the Japanese service. So yeah. So far, none of those crazy rumors proved true. However, all's not lost. There was actually something for Donkey Kong. It wasn't what a lot of people wanted, but something for Donkey Kong nonetheless. I mean, it's a remaster rather than something new, so we're still missing a brand new Donkey Kong game, but a remaster or remake. You know what? I'll just call it a remake because of how drastically different and everything is. Seeing as this one's being done with high quality 3D models, whereas the original was sprites. Yeah, that being the original Mario vs. Donkey Kong from the Game Boy Advance. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, the rumor was true. And as for the Game Boy Advance version, well, at this point it's clear that both it and Super Mario RPG 11 Legend of the Seven Stars will have to wait at least 3 years to come to Nintendo Switch Online. Not that it matters. I mean, the remakes are a good are how in the remakes will probably be the superior versions to some. Yeah, another rumor that I almost didn't bother with, but I'm glad I did. Another code, as it is now officially being called, with the trace memory name being removed. That was there. Yeah. And I'd say that's probably one of the best remasters announced, for one main reason. I mean, with Mario vs. Donkey Kong, they could have easily just thrown that, and again, they didn't really need to do anything in order to make it available on Switch. They could have just tossed it onto Game Boy Advance Online next year. But Trace Memory, on the other hand, as I'll be referring to it for the moment, that they did have to do something with, because the first game in the series was on the DS and made use of its unique properties. So therefore, by making this new version, those issues with it seeing the light of day are now resolved, because now it's been reworked for more traditional hardware. So therefore, it can exist in the modern day much easier. However, it's not just the original trace memory, but another code R that we're getting. Now, here's the thing. I originally thought that my wish came true for one localization to happen. However, as it turns out, upon looking it up, another code R, it already existed in English in PAL regions. So, assuming that the Switch version is NTSC, this will be the first time there's an English language NTSC version, but I'm not sure if I'd call it localized. Still good to have it nonetheless, though. I mean, and honestly, having both the DS game and the Wii game combined into one package, I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, it's good that I'm glad it's here. And the last one on the list, Xenosaga. I don't know why I even bothered putting it on there. I mean, obviously it wasn't gonna happen. Again, as I said, pretty sure I said last time, in there's too much in the hype train for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 still has too much momentum, too much steam. So therefore, it's still a little too early for anything else. So, not surprised that it's not there. Or that it wasn't there. Anyway, next in the list, NES Remix Pack wasn't there, and again, makes sense why it wasn't there. If it is to happen, it is to be in 2024, in between the anniversary of the Famicom and the anniversary of the NES. And by extension on the 10th anniversary of its existence. Moving on, Advance Wars. Nothing for Advance Wars. However, there was a third-party equivalent of Advance Wars, sort of. And one other detail. You see, here's the thing. I heard whispers of another a military game aimed by Way Forward being at the Direct. I thought it was. Obviously, I suspected Advance Wars, but didn't hear enough whispers to put it in the rumored category. Turns out, it wasn't. It turns out it's actually the Contra remake that I heard about. So yeah. Way Forward was Way Forward did have a remaster of a military game from the past at the Direct, but I had the wrong one. So, not Advance Wars, but maybe another time. Yeah, Contra looks good though. Now I'm just gonna run through all of these lofty items that didn't happen. No Tekken, no Chrono Trigger, although we did get something else for Square Enix. I mean, they announced a Saga game. So, I mean, yeah, yeah, I was wrong, but not by that much, in a way. No sign of Professor Layton, period. The most we got for Bomberman was Super Bomberman R2 in the sizzle reel of the Japanese Direct. I almost had that game on this list, but then I saw a launch listed, so I removed it. Didn't think they'd feature something that's already released in the Direct. These two. Again, I suspected there might be something related to Nintendo Switch Online for Japan in the Direct, but nothing. Neither of the Valve titles I suspected were there, and probably won't happen till next year, if at all. And no Silent Hill Master Collection. However, it is worth noting that as there's a state of play happening today, in fact it'll probably already be happening by the time I get this on the server. So, I mean, as much as it probably would have made a certain amount of sense to have it be as a direct, I mean, I suspect Sony has the rights to first reveals for the more modern Konami series, such as Metal Gear and Silent Hill. So, even if there was a Silent Hill Master Collection happening, I mean, which admittedly could still happen, and it'll probably be more of a Sony reveal, unfortunately. At least at first. And even then, we're more likely to see the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 before we see Silent Hill, most likely, despite the fact that all the work for the Foundation is already done. Oh, and of course, I was completely right about the not happening section. The entire not happening section. None of what I listed here as not happening happened. So therefore I was right. Though I'm not sure if I want to paint it green. What other colors do I have? You know what? Maybe I'll just go with a darker green. Oh, wait. Wrong section. Yeah. I mean, I said there would be no new Nintendo Switch, and there wasn't. I said there would be no GameCube Online. There wasn't. I said there'd be no TurboGrafx 16 Online. There wasn't. I said no Wind Waker HD, no Twilight Princess HD, and we obviously were not getting Tears of the Kingdom DLC, although we did get it although they did put in a reminder for those amiibo, but that doesn't count. No Fires Past Volume 3. Most we got was, in regards to that, was the Sora amiibo reveal, but I listed that in another as its own thing, so therefore that doesn't count, so therefore I was right, and the fact that it's not there. No Kid Icarus Uprising HD, no Mario 3 localization, and nothing for Pokemon at all except for Detective Pikachu Returns. And the appearance of the DLC in the Sizzle Reel. So yeah, I was right that none of this would be there. And of course, none of this happened, so I'll just mark it in the red because it simply did not happen. Yeah. So yeah. And that one I'll just switch to. I'll switch back. Yeah. So with the more probable ones, I got almost everything right. I got absolutely everything right with what I said for the for the amiibo and DLC. And a couple of the more out there ones sort of proved right. But otherwise, a lot of the rumors were false this time around. For the most part. Starting out... Well, actually, I think I'll change the color of this one. Because here's the thing, I wasn't completely wrong with F-Zero. I mean, I was right in the fact that it wouldn't be, F-Zero GX like everyone wanted, but I was also wrong about it being AX instead of something completely new, which we haven't gotten a new F-Zero game in 20 years. So that's something at least. F-Zero 99. Yes, it's derivative of the original F-Zero, but so what? It has different rules, some different mechanics. Its own. It may be using a lot of the same assets, or well, actually, I'm not sure if those are actually the exact same sprites. They probably made new sprites that look just like the old ones. In fact, I don't think it's using Mode 7 either. It's probably in 3D. So yeah, though it might be using a little bit of the original source code, it's most likely entirely a completely different game. So yeah. You were 20 years overdue for a brand new F-Zero game, and we finally got one. Just not what people wanted. But people aren't disappointed, at least. Or at least not, or at least it doesn't appear so. So yeah. Now, as for everything else, I don't know why I didn't. First of all, I don't know why I didn't put Prince of Persia on this on the known list. I should have gotten that one, but for some reason I didn't bother to list it. But of course, I am looking forward to that one. Of course, yeah. Unfortunately, not much to write home about concerning most of these third parties. Not too many stood out. A lot of them seemed very similar to other ones that were in the same direct. But we got a little bit of every. We got some. Yeah, we got at least 2 or 3 medieval titles, a couple of maybe 1 or 2 farming sims, a couple of the more random ones, some of which have revealed previously. But the ones that stand out, first of all, some DLC for eastward. Yeah. That's yeah, that stands out, and is something that I'm sure will be worth it. I mean, Miami is definitely something that will complement the rest of the game. For Syndicate, I haven't really seen much of Eastward, so who am I to judge? Of course, a new map for Among Us. I mean, figures it, yeah, figured that it would probably happen, but honestly, a bit surprised that it would be at a Nintendo Direct that it got announced, rather than through um, Inner Sloth. But I'm not complaining. Of course, I'd say that the biggest third-party title that stands out to me, at least, the original Tomb Raider trilogy. Now, here's the thing. I had heard of, and I actually did hear a rumor that this would be coming. However, the problem is, this rumor was back in the summer, and before the June Direct, through the trailer for 2 Lara Croft games. So, with that, and no sign of the original trilogy, I just assumed that my source was referring to those 2 games rather than the original trilogy, and therefore forgot about the rumor. But now, Tomb Raider on Nintendo Switch. For real this time. Yeah. This was a long time coming. It's about time that classic Tomb Raider made its way over. Especially because a port is the only way it could come over, as there was no N64 version back in the day. I mean, yeah, I mean that would have been the only way it could have happened back then. Yeah. And the fact that they as both modern graphics and the original graphics is a nice bonus too. Although I have to wonder, the modern graphics, are those new for this version, or are they similar to to those from the version of the original trilogy that was released for the Wii a while back? I mean, hard to say. Now I'm trying to think, is there anything else of note that I should bring up from the Direct before I bring up the big one? because nothing's really coming to mind. I mean, we got another look we got a look at the new fitness boxing game in the Japanese Direct. In either a new N-Chan game or a sequel to the last one, also in the Japanese Direct. I mean, hard to tell because I couldn't read any of the text or understand any of what the announcer was saying. I mean, which comes with the territory for watching something in another language. Yeah. But nothing else that really stands out, as far as I can remember, as far as third-party titles are concerned. I mean, yeah. I mean, the new Saga game will be something worth looking forward to. I mean, Tomb Raider, of course. Oh, and there was a racing game by Epic Games as well. That might be worth checking out. And of course, the new Contra game, but I already mentioned that as well. Or should I say, new Contra remake. Yeah. Again, that's the thing. And of course, again, that's something I already mentioned, so therefore, doesn't really count. Yeah. Nothing's coming to mind from either version of the Direct. So I guess, on to the big one. Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. I mean, that, from what I've heard, was a something. It was. Let's just say that saying that people were surprised by it would be an understatement. I mean, should have seen some of those reactions. Then again, you probably did. Probably watched all the more reputable folks before watching this one, if at all. Or listening. Seeing as, well, there's really not much to see. In fact, why do I even have this chart here still? I don't think it's needed. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway. 1,000-Year Door. In something that they didn't necessarily need to do, but, well, good to have it nonetheless. And it's amazing it's amazing what's just simply re-exporting the game in a more modern engine will do. I mean, but then again, that sort of thing's been seen before. Yeah. Again, this is not a recording I'm talking over. I actually do have in the Breath of the Wild footage being done in real time. Observe. Jump, slice, miss. Jump, slice, miss. Jump. Oh, well, I got it anyway. Anyway, my point is with it, with Metroid Prime Remastered and Pikmin 1 and 2, an argument could be made that because those are Wii games rather than GameCube games, it doesn't affect the chances of GameCube Online happening next year. However, now that you bring in an 1000-year door, now that actually does affect the chances. Because now, there actually is a whole bunch of a whole bunch of games that can't come to GameCube Online. Of course, then again, it was technically that way already, but then again, yeah. So as much as having ouch. So as much as having what I'm saying is, though GameCube Online could still happen, it's looking less and less likely all the time. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Wrong button. Yeah. So, yeah, either way, good to have the return of a rather expensive favorite. Or should I say, or rather expensive classic, actually. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, it is debatable whether or not GameCube Online would even happen in the first place, seeing as, well, I mean, there's limits to how much can come over the line with game streaming. So, I mean, N64 might just be the limit. Yeah. So, probably for the best that GameCube just have the game slowly be released. Plus, it would fill in the gaps between the bigger games, which are becoming more and more expensive to make, more and more time consuming to make all the time. Yeah. By the way, as far as the Direct overall, it's definitely looking like it's a Direct that's purely focused on resolving unfinished business. Regarding unfinished business concerning the Nintendo Switch as we know it. A few final projects for the Nintendo Switch. The final all Smash Amiibo. Yeah, it's clear that Nintendo is slowing down production of brand new games, and so far, yeah. I mean, I know that they knew the the Super Mario Bros. Movie would be a massive success, but let's see. At least three or four, yeah, at least four remasters of past Mario games, all coming out at once. It's rare that we get even one remaster of a Mario game, much less four. There hasn't. I don't recall there being this many I don't recall there being this many Mario remasters since the Game Boy Advance. In fact, actually, technically it beats it, because yeah. No, wait, actually, no, this is actually unprecedented, because yeah, sure, there were some remaster, sure, because other than the original Super Mario All-Stars, I don't think there's ever been this many Mario remasters released. So yeah. Could just be them focusing on bringing back the old favorites for the new audiences brought in by the Mario movie. Or it could be them just simply slowing down production of Switch games in favor of the next Nintendo Switch. Yeah. I mean, the next Nintendo Switch will of course most likely be announced at the earliest in the spring of 2024. But don't quote me on that. We're not seeing it this year, but we will probably see it sometime next year. And as for Harvest Moon 64, there's still a chance of it being seen, though probably not this month. Though maybe it could happen this month. However, I feel that it would probably be the Game Boy Advance's turn to get a release. Which I'm leaning towards being Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Despite the fact that there are already so many Kirby games released on Nintendo Switch Online this year. Although I suppose Golden Sun could be it, if we're getting something this month. Either way, it probably won't be F-Zero GP Legend, or Maximum Velocity, whichever one it was that was announced. It'll probably be one of the other two, simply because I don't know if they'd release 2 F-Zero games on Nintendo Switch Online in the same month. Although I do wonder if F-Zero Climax would make it over to Nintendo Switch Online over here. I don't think the game would be too text heavy, though I have yet to check. Yeah. Or who knows, there could have been a scrapped localization already in the vault, but just don't count on it. Either way, as far as chances of anything else for NES or SNES Online, forget it until November. Because as we already got something for this month, and October would probably be Sega Genesis. So November is probably when those Famicom titles I listed would happen, if they do happen this year. And of course, again, with N64, it's either Harvest Moon or Mario Party 3 next in line. And then December would be 1080 snowboarding. Yeah. But that's enough for now. Need to get this onto the server. So I should probably stop. hat.